In the spring of 1958, the NBA was still young. The league had only a handful of stars who truly shined, and among them was Maurice Stokes. A forward for the Cincinnati Royals, Stokes was a phenomenon, athletic, powerful, and years ahead of his time. He could rebound, pass, defend, and score. Some said he was the perfect player, destined to become a legend, but fate had other plans. On March 12, 1958, in the final game of the regular season, Stokes drove to the basket, collided with another player, and crashed to the floor. He hit his head hard. Though shaken, he stood up, finished the game, and even boarded the team plane later that night. But mid-flight, the consequences of that fall caught up with him. Stokes suffered a seizure and slipped into a coma. When he woke, his life had changed forever. The diagnosis was grim: post-traumatic encephalopathy. A severe brain injury had left him permanently paralyzed. At just 24 years old, Maurice Stokes, the rising star of the NBA, could no longer walk, run, or even care for himself. It would have been easy for the world to forget him. The NBA in the 1950s had little money, little fame, and almost no safety nets for its players. Stokes's medical bills piled up, and his family could not possibly carry the weight alone. But this is where the story of tragedy transforms into one of the purest acts of loyalty the game has ever known. Enter Jack Twyman. He was only 23 years old, a teammate of Stokes, not especially close before the accident. Yet Twyman stepped forward. He became Stokes's legal guardian, his advocate, his voice. What began as duty grew into a lifelong bond. Twyman organized charity games, raising money to cover Stokes's crushing medical expenses. He visited him regularly, sat by his side, and refused to let the world move on. For years, while building his own Hall of Fame career, Jack Twyman carried Maurice Stokes with him, not just in memory, but in presence. He ensured his friend was part of the basketball family that could have so easily abandoned him. Stokes could not speak easily after his injury. Communication was slow, difficult, often through the blink of an eye or a painstakingly written word. Yet through this silence, Twyman never stopped listening. And through this struggle, Stokes never stopped fighting. Their friendship was built on sacrifice, endurance, and unbreakable trust. Maurice Stokes lived 9 years after that fateful fall. He passed away in 1970 at the age of 36. Jack Twyman was there until the very end. He once said that Stokes was more than a teammate. He was like a brother. Decades later, the NBA finally recognized their extraordinary bond. In 2013, the league introduced the Twyman-Stokes Teammate of the Year award, honoring the player who best exemplifies selflessness, loyalty, and dedication to his teammates. But the award only tells part of the story. The truth is darker, deeper, and far more powerful. It's the story of a brilliant career cut short in a single moment, and of a friend who refused to let that tragedy define the man behind it. Maurice Stokes will never be remembered for the championships he might have won, or the records he might have set. He will be remembered for the strength he showed in silence, and Jack Twyman will be remembered for the way he carried a friend's burden as if it were his own. This is not just a story about basketball. It's a story about humanity, about how, in the face of devastating loss, true friendship can endure longer than the brightest of careers. Maurice Stokes and Jack Twyman, forever linked, not by points or rebounds, but by sacrifice, loyalty, and a bond unbroken by tragedy.